I got some Raiders news that might surprise some people that come across this video. My name is Mitchell Renz, host of the Raiders Report, and coming up on today's show, Dante Thornton Jr. revealed his Raiders sleeper candidate for 2025 in an interview that I recently did with the fourth rounder out of Tennessee here on the Raiders Report. And the person that Dante Thornton Jr. is going to go out there and surprise the nation, his name is Decamerion Richardson. Now, if you didn't see the interview that I did with Thornton on July 10th, I encourage you to please go check it out. But the reason why I was surprised by that answer is not because I don't believe in the talent that is Richardson. I think everybody that rocks with the silver and black, I think anybody that is an actual football head knows that this guy does have a lot of talent. It's just, what exactly are we able to do in terms of being able to put that talent onto the football field, and how exactly does that translate? So I'm not going to lie, I can sit back and I remember when Thornton said that, the amount of comments that were in the live chat, and my face exactly was a big old smile, because hearing Thornton say that he felt like Decamerion Richardson was going to be the player that surprises a lot of people around the nation, it brought a smile to my face. And if you think the exact same thing, I want you to hit that like button right now if you agree, because when you sit back and you look at this Raiders defensive backfield, I believe in Darian Porter, I believe in Jakorian Bennett, I believe in Eric Stokes. If you could get another player that we look at those three players that way and how confident we are in those three guys that I just mentioned, if Richardson can insert himself into that category, we're feeling a lot better about the secondary from top to bottom. And if you agree with that, I hope that you hit that like button. Now, if you did not see the interview that I did with the Raiders fourth rounder, Dante Thornton Jr., I encourage you to go check it out. This is the thumbnail of the video. I'm also going to put it for you down in the comments, down in the description on this show here in case you just missed it. So what I'm going to do here on the next, let's say, 5 to 10 minutes of the show, I'm going to be breaking down why I believe Decamerion Richardson could surprise Raider Nation and could surprise the NFL world, because there is a lot to work with here. Let's go to the very first reason, Pete Carroll's impact. When you find a coach that is a specialist at the position that you play, it is going to help you out a lot. The name that I always bring up in terms of the Raiders coaching staff is Rob Leonard, because he's one of the best defensive line coaches in the NFL. And when you get defensive linemen on this team, they end up playing better time and time again. Pete Carroll's that exact same guy as a head coach for defensive backs. Whether you're talking about free safety, strong safety, nickel corner, outside corner, Pete loves long, athletic cornerbacks. And that is exactly what Decamerion Richardson is. I think the other thing that Carroll does a really good job of is not only teaching people, teaching his players, but also coaching them in the right direction of not only how to make a play on a ball for a PBU, but how to change a game and turn that PBU into an interception. And for a guy like Richardson, who he did not have a single interception his entire college football career, but had some opportunities to swat some balls down, I would imagine if Pete goes, hey, I've worked with guys that are just as talented as you from top to bottom. If you follow these steps, you're going to be able to turn what you have right now into a player that, if he can learn how to catch the football and become a little bit of a ball hawk, I think he can take that next step. Let's go to another reason here of why I believe Decamerion Richardson could surprise. You got another year with Patrick Graham. And Patrick Graham, to me, is one of these coaches that I love how smart he is. And I love how much of a great teacher he is. And when you think about the type of player that Richardson is, he needs help in technique. He needs help in the fundamental department. And that is exactly what Patrick Graham's specialty is. He is one of the smartest defensive coaches in the National Football League. And I do really think when you saw the leap of a Jakorian Bennett in year two, I mentioned Tre'von Moehrig, and I know Moehrig didn't make the leap in his second year, but he made his second year leap in Patrick Graham's system. So the first year is with PG was a little bit of a learning curve. Last year for Richardson, maybe a little bit of a learning curve. But Moehrig spoke about it multiple times where he was able to kind of turn his brain off and go out there and react. If Richardson is able to turn his brain off and go out there and react at the athletic ability that he has, I think that's going to help him take that next step. Let's go to Marcus Robertson and Joe Woods. You're looking at the Raiders' top two defensive backs coaches. Joe Woods also the pass game coordinator. And I think that this dynamic duo is the perfect combination for a player for Richardson for what he needs. The first thing is this. Robertson, he ended up playing in the NFL from 1991 to 2002. He's also been coaching in the NFL since 2007. Joe Woods, on the other hand, he's been coaching in the league since 1992. I think for a player like Richardson, and I'm only basing this off of some of the limited things that I've heard about him. I've heard that he's got a young spirit and he needs to grow up a little bit, and I mean that in the nicest way possible. But I also mean that as sometimes when you have a player that you need to be able to figure out a way to connect with is probably the best way that I'm going to be able to put it here. And for Richardson, I think he's going to be able to connect really well with Robertson, somebody that's been there, somebody that's done that. And then you add a little bit of an older figure, a father figurehead. I'm not saying that that's what he needs, a father figure. I'm saying Joe Woods is a little bit of an older dude, coach speaking there. And that combination of somebody that's been there and done it and coaching in the NFL level with Robertson, combined with Joe Woods, somebody who's been a DC on multiple different teams, a coach on multiple different teams, who's been in the league since 1992. I believe that combination is going to relate and help out Decamerion Richardson very much this upcoming season. So here is the 4 people that I have talked about thus far in helping out Mr. Richardson. And I want to know from y'all down below, scale it from 1 to 10, what is your trust level in these 4 people? Pete Carroll, Patrick Graham, Marcus Robertson, Joe Woods. Scale it for me from 1 to 10. You're about to get hit with a YouTube ad break. While that ad is playing, scrolling down, give me your answer. My answer coming up here in just a moment. I'm going to sit up here and I'm going to go with an 8 out of 10. I do have a lot of faith in this coaching staff, and I believe Pete Carroll's one of the best to do it. I believe Patrick Graham, Joe Woods, Marcus Robertson are some of the better coaches in the league. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10, and that inspires me again to sit up here and say Richardson does have the athletic tools, but can he put together the technique? Can he put together some of the other fundamentals that he does truly need? I got more reasons here of why Decam could surprise him. I think that's what I'm going to call him from now on. I heard Thornton call him that multiple times in our interview. Decam, I kind of like it. That's what we're going to be rolling with. And I got a few more coming up in just a moment. I also got something, though, that y'all are going to love. Chubbies has got an awesome deal. Skies out, thighs out. And if you're like me, I've been trying to get my legs into shape that way when I go to my honeymoon, when I get ready for my wedding, I was going to be able to fit in my tux. I was going to be able to fit in my swim trunks. Well, guess what? Summer's here, which is officially time to let the dogs out. And by dogs, we mean your legs. If your pups have been stuck in jeans or sweats for the last few months, set them free with the Line Swim Collection from Chubbies. Whether you're poolside, lakeside, or oceanside on that long-awaited vacation, these trunks are ready to travel. Life's too short for uncomfortable swim trunks. So these babies are set up for all-day comfort with a quick-stretch, dry fabric and built-in liner that actually does its job. No more chafing, no more soggy butt, no more mesh disasters. Also, I think you can pair those shorts with a Chubbies Performance Polo, and you're going to be ready to go for a brunch, backyard party, or accidentally crashing a wedding. Just not mine. With a structured collar that stays sharp, 4-way stretch for comfort and breathable moisture-wicking fabric, this polo keeps you cool and looking pulled together. It's wrinkle-resistant, too, which is perfect because, let's be honest, you weren't going to iron it anyway. So whether you're suiting up for cannonballs, cookouts, or casual Fridays, Chubbies has you covered. For a limited time, Chubbies is giving our listeners 20% off your first order with our code chat at chubbyshorts.com. That's code chat at chubbyshorts.com. Support the Raiders Report. Let them know that we sent you. Summer's here. Dress like it with Chubbies. Now, I'll tell you this. I own a few pair of swimming trunks from Chubbies. I own a few pair of shorts as well from Chubbies, and I just packed up my suitcase the other day. I'm filming this ahead of time, just so y'all know. I ended up packing my suitcase for my honeymoon. I believe I have 4 Chubbies items in that suitcase. Now, my wife might take 1 or 2 out. She might add 1 or 2 in there. But I'm telling y'all, for my honeymoon, I packed Chubbies. And I think that is a great way to show y'all how much I do love this company. And if you're looking to save 20% off your purchase, chubbyshorts.com. That link's going to be available to y'all down in the comments, down in the description, where my shorts would be. Let's go to the next reason here of why I think Decam could really, truly surprise. He is a really good athlete. And I do think one of the reasons why the Raiders ended up taking Richardson, he's long, he's lanky, 6'2", 195 pounds. Instantly, when you have a player that runs a 4.3 40, and that's this size with this new kickoff return rules, he's going to be a good special teams player. But he was the fastest cornerback in terms of the 40-yard dash at the 2024 NFL Draft. Also, according to Next Gen Stats, his 88 athleticism score was top of the 2024 cornerback draft class. I also look back and see what he was doing at the high school level. And a few of the guys here at Chat Sports, I would love to know what y'all have to say. Who would win this race? Either Joey Chestnut or Usain Bolt, here's the stakes. You got to eat one hot dog and then run 100 meters. When I found out that Richardson ran 100 meters in 10.75 seconds, not going to lie, the first thing I thought of was that debate. Joey Chestnut, Usain Bolt, who's the first one that's going to scarf down a hot dog and then run 100 meters? Personally, I think it's Joey Chestnut, and it's not going to be all that close. But for Richardson, I saw the 100-meter time, and that is an elite, truly elite overall time. He is a phenomenal athlete. That you cannot deny. Let's go to the final reason, and we're going to sprinkle a little magic on this one. And one of our producers here at Chat Sports was making fun of me because I already put Dante Thornton Jr. as a good draft pick by the Raiders. But the silver and black over recent years have had a lot of success in that fourth round, and maybe Decamerion's going to be another one of those fourth-round studs. Now, here I would say are the best fourth-round picks that the Silver and Black have had since I've really, truly been covering this team every single day. In 2019, Max Crosby, Foster Moreau, Amik Robertson in 2020, Aiden O'Connell in 2023, Jakorian Bennett in 2023, and then Dante Thornton Jr. We'll see if that one ends up working out or not, though. Tonka Hemingway is probably sitting there going, dude, I'm going to run over you if I ever see it, which, Tonka, it's all love, man. But to me, we know how much success we've had in the fourth round, and maybe Decamerion's going to be another one of those guys. And I do hope that he goes out there and he surprises like Thornton expects. But I do have my doubts, and I'm not afraid to admit that I have my doubts. I know that his technique is a little bit lacking, and that does concern me. But you know what? I hope he proves me wrong. So coming up here next on this show, not only do I hope Decamerion Richardson proves me wrong, I hope these next 5 players that I'm about to discuss also end up proving me wrong, because one of the things that I do on this show is you got to give a take. You got to give your honest opinion. You're going to be right sometimes. You're going to be wrong sometimes. That's life. But I always think that you should stand up, say it with your chest, and I'm going to say these 5 players, I hope that they prove me wrong. So before I break my 5 guys down, who's one player on the Raiders that maybe you're not all that high on, that maybe some other people are, or that maybe you have your doubts? Who's that one player that you're hoping ends up proving you wrong? I'm going to guess this. Excuse me. I'm going to guess we're going to get quite a few Geno Smiths down in the comments. And I guess what? I hope that he also proves you wrong. Let's go to the first name coming up here, and I'm going to go Darnay Holmes. I know that he's been working in the nickel, but there's been some question marks around Holmes and the ultimate impact that he's going to have on this team. Thomas Harper and him have been splitting reps. The Raiders have been using a lot of safeties, and I am concerned about that nickel position. I think it's one of the biggest needs that the Raiders have on defense. Let's go to the linebacker position. Devin White. I was probably one of the lowest on White when the Raiders signed him to that 1-year, $1.2 million deal. I'll admit, I was a little bit lower because I didn't know the face value. 1.2 mil, I don't think it's a bad deal. And now the fact that the Raiders went out, they got Jermaine Pratt, that hopefully means they're not going to use White as an every down linebacker, and they're going to use him as an athlete. But if they're using him as a linebacker, I hope Devin White proves me wrong. Let's go to the offensive line, and this is somebody that I think a lot of people are very concerned about. Alex Kappa was signed in free agency early this offseason, and I don't want another Cody Whitehair situation. I don't want another offensive lineman that clearly doesn't deserve to be out there on the field and is just out there because of his coaching connection and connection to John Spytek. He was the worst offensive lineman that started basically the amount of games that he did last season in the NFL, all 17 games. He was the worst one. If he can get back to being like the 2020 version of him before the injury set in, then I hope that he proves me wrong. Let's go to free safety next up here, and that's Isaiah Pola-Mao. Now, this one's a little bit tricky because I've always believed in the player of Pola-Mao, but I don't believe in him as being a starter at free safety for this Raiders team. I have said that free safety is the biggest need for the Silver and Black. I have said that I would go out and get Justin Simmons. I would go out and get Julian Blackman because I don't think Pola-Mao is a starting free safety. He's a third safety in a rotation. But guess what? Hope he proves me wrong. The final name is Christian Wilkins, and this one really just comes down to, I hope Christian Wilkins and the Raiders prove me wrong that he doesn't need another surgery, and that Wilkins can go out there, even if he's not 100%, and still get the job done. I am concerned for how healthy and the impact that number 94 is going to have on this defensive line this season, but I hope he proves me wrong. And if you made it this far in the video and you're not subscribed, prove me wrong. Hit that sub button. Turn on those noties and stay up to date on all things going on around the Silver and Black, even while I'm gone for my honeymoon.